and welcome to a Luminate at Home dance class with me. I'm Lottie. It's lovely to meet you all via this odd form of dance class, via a film. So I'm going to lead you through a contemporary dance class today, and the way that I'm going to do it is you are able to do it however your body feels like you need to do it. So instead of using instructions like run about the space, I will say move about the space. And if for you today the moving is just from your chair, that's fine. If for you today that's a triple pirouette and a leap and a crazy run around the room, then you go with that. So however your body wants to move, that's how you need to respond to the tasks that I'm going to be laying out for you today. As always, make sure that you have enough space to move. So even if we are seated, make sure that you're not going to knock anything over with your arms. And if you are going to stand, make sure that there's no trip hazards around you. There's no dogs running through. I've had to put mine upstairs. Just checking that you're not going to injure yourself. And also making sure that you stay hydrated. So you've got a little bottle of water nearby. And like I said, the most important thing is that you work within your own body and what your own body is capable of. Let's get moving. So to get our bodies feeling nice and warm, we're going to do a little bit of a visualization exercise. So I'm going to ask you to shut your eyes at some point. You might feel a bit foolish, but it's just you in your home, no one's watching you, and it's about getting our bodies feeling nice and warm. So what I want you to do is get yourself into a comfortable position, and I'm going to stay seated, but you might decide that for you a comfortable position is standing, or it might be lying flat on your back, or kneeling down, but finding a position that's comfortable for you, and we're just going to slowly wake up all the parts of our body. So with some music, we're going to imagine some oil in the palms of our hands. And I just want you to really visualise that oil. So this is where you can shut your eyes if you feel comfortable to. Visualise those little pools of oil in your hands. Think about how that feels. Think about the colour, think about how viscous it is. And then slowly let that oil sink into your hands. You don't need to look at the video, you can just listen to my voice. Feel the oil now inside your hands. And try and move your hands so that it's oiling every part of every finger. Really waking up those joints, moving so that gravity's helping that oil move around. And into your wrists. So we're waking up our wrists. You might use another hand to push the oil around, giving that wrist a little massage. Really feeling those joints wake up, they're nice and oiled. And now we want to feel the oil flow through our arms. So you might lift your hands up so that you can feel gravity pulling that oil down your arms. You might imagine that you can defy gravity and the oil is flowing upward. Really massage it through your arms. So feeling those elbows wake up. And feeling the warmth come into your upper arms and into those shoulder joints. So feeling the oil move around in those shoulders. And we're going to feel it rise up into our neck. So again, you might want to use gravity. Imagining the oil flowing through your neck, and you want to make sure it touches every part of it. Up into your face and your jaw. So now you feel really silly, but moving your face. So you feel like the oil is flowing through the front of your face, waking up every part of you. and back to our back. So into our shoulders. And how can we make the oil flow through every part of our torso? Waking it up. Make sure you can feel it on the front body and the back body. And in your sides. And coming into your hips. So make sure you're circling so that the oil is really oiling up those hips. Might be feeling a little creaky today. And into our thighs. So feeling the warmth go through our thighs. How can we make sure that they feel like they've been touched by this warmth? And our knees. I'm working down one leg. You might choose to work down both at the same time. So I'm going to the thigh of the other leg. Feeling that warmth spread through your muscles. You can massage it in with your hands and your knees. Really feel like they're oiled, that they're feeling connected to the rest of our body. And now let's work on the lower legs. So again, you might want to use gravity and lift them up. Ooh. So you feel like the oil is flowing through those lower legs. And into our ankles. Hold on to that feeling that this has flowed through your body, warming up every part of you and your feet. Think about coating every surface of your foot. Make sure your toes are included. And plant your feet wherever you are. Plant your feet to the floor. And take a deep breath in. Shut your eyes at this point if you haven't got them shut already. Take a deep breath in. And breathe out. And again, deep breath in. Feeling every part of our body connected, and a deep breath out. Last time, deep breath in. And out. And we'll move on to our next exercise. So next up, we're going to do some plies, which you might be more familiar with as being a ballet term, but it's actually a good way to wake up our body for contemporary as well. Now, traditionally, a plie is done by bending the legs. So we'd be standing and we're bending the legs. And that is still one option in this plie class. But actually, a plie is just a bend of a structure. So when we're standing, it's a bend of that structure of the legs. But if we're sitting, we can choose which structure we want to bend. So we might decide we want to bend our spine, in which case the plie would be a sink and a stretch. Or we might decide, as you can see from my hands, we might decide that we have our arms straight, and they're the things that bend and straighten. So it's about a bend and a straighten, and whatever body part you feel like you want to bend and straighten today. So again, choose your starting position, and you want to start with a narrow base. a narrow base, and then we're going to do it again with a wider base. So choose your starting position and let's get going. So you're in your position ready to bend, either standing, sitting, kneeling, whatever you fancy. So we're bending and straightening and bend and straighten. Bend, nice slow and straighten. And find another position, preferably something wider than the first base. And again, bend and straighten. Using all the music and straighten. Bend and straighten. And bring it back to that first position again. All right, off you go. Last one, bend and straighten. Find that wider position and bend, straighten. Use all the counts to sink and straighten. Sinking down and straighten. And now try and find something else that you can bend and straighten. If you're stuck for ideas, you can just look at the screen. I've gone into a first position with my feet, or I'm bending my arms. And finding another position. Off we go. Bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten, and finding that other position again. Off you go. Gently bending and stretching, using all the counts. And find a nice stretch to finish. Next up, we're going to do some tongjus, which also again might traditionally seem like a ballet thing to do, but again we work them into contemporary sort of in our own way. So again, it's however you want to interpret this task, but a tongju is basically about stretching. So it's about stretching a limb away from the body. So I'm going to show you it seated with both my legs and my arms doing the tongjus, and standing doing a sort of more traditional tongju just with my legs. But if you decide you're feeling adventurous and you want to try tongjus with other parts of the body, go ahead and let me know how you get on. But the exercise is going to go tonju, so a stretch away from the body, and then a flex of that body part, a point again, and a bring it back towards the body. So if you're doing it with the arms, it would be a stretch away, a flex, and a stretch back towards the body. Let's try with the music. So you found your starting position. We're ready to tonju away from the body. So we take 4 slow counts and a flex and point. Bring it back in. 4 slow counts. A little movement however you want. A head roll, a shoulder shake. And again, tonju, other leg or arm or body part. Flex and point. Bring it close. Little movement however you want. And again, tonju, 2, 3, 4, flex, point, bring it back, 2, 3, 4, little roll, other limb, 1, 2, 3, 4, flex, and point, bring it back, little move however you want, and again. Try something different that you haven't tried before. Stretch away, flex and stretch. Bring it back. Little movement. Lovely. So this next section is where we really get into sort of the meaty bit of some creativity. So we're going to work with a poem and we're going to do some movement to the poem. So please don't feel silly. Do feel like you can move however you want to move. If your movements today are really small and more like little gestures, that's fine. And I like to imagine that we're all in one studio moving together. And that's kind of, we are in a studio, just separated by distance. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what you create with the poem. The poem we're working with is called A Song of Flight, and it's by Christina Rossetti. So I'll read the poem for you and then I'll go through the tasks that we're going to do with it. So, A Song of Flight. While we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. Daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free, athirst to bathe in the uttermost sea. While we linger at play, if the year would stand at May, winds are up and away, over land, over sea, to their goal, wherever that goal may be. It is time to arise, to race for the promised prize. The sun flies, the wind flies, we are strong, we are free, and home lies beyond the stars and the sea. So I really like this poem because I like the idea of nature and being free, and kind of nature continuing without us, which I think is potentially really important to think about at this time, about the world sort of reinvigorating itself. So we'll get started with the first line. So the first line is, while we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. I'll say it again. While we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. And I'd like you to choose just 2 words from that little phrase. So I'll read it again. And thinking about the 2 words that you want to choose. While we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. So I'm going to choose slumber because I really like the word slumber. And I'm going to choose leaps because I think those are 2 completely different words. But it's up to you which ones you choose. And so make sure you're in a position that you want to start this bit of movement in, however you're comfortable. And you're just going to do a movement on each of those words. And a movement that sort of summarises that word for you. Now, it doesn't need to be literal. You don't need to fall asleep on the word slumber and leap on the word leap. But that's something that embodies that word. So I think I'm going to go, while we slumber and sleep, and let my head sort of fall over on slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. Yeah? But you choose whatever your words are and your movements are. So I'll read it again and you do your movements on the words. While we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. One more time. While we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. Great. Next, daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free. So my only request for this bit, for this whole phrase, daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free, you're going to move continuously throughout that phrase. Now that movement might just be a little movement. That movement might be involving your whole body. You might be standing at this stage, so it might be running around the room. But this is about the daylight being rapid and dominant and free, so I want us to feel like we're really moving through this section. So, daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free. Okay, let's try from the beginning. So, while we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. Daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free. Yeah? However you want to move on that bit. And then just to finish up this little verse, we've got a thirst to bathe in the uttermost sea. And I want just one movement to encompass that whole sentence. A thirst to bathe in the uttermost sea. So for me, I'm really thinking about being at the sea, being on holiday, bathing in that. So I'm going to just do a really simple movement thinking about bathing in the sea. But whatever that brings up for you. And I'd like it to be quite different from the rapid movement of the line before. All right, so that line again. A thirst to bathe in the uttermost sea. Let's try putting that whole verse together. All right, so find wherever you're going to start. And you've got your movements on the words to start with. So, while we slumber and sleep, The sun leaps up from the deep. Daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free, athirst to bathe in the uttermost sea. Fantastic. Let's try that bit with some music. While we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. Daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free, athirst to bathe in the uttermost sea. So we move on to the second verse. The first line is, while we linger at play, if the year would stand at May. And that's sort of like an exclamation, if the year would stand at May. While we linger at play, if the year would stand at May. So again, I want you to choose a couple of words that you're going to move on. While we linger at play, if the year would stand at May. So I think I'm going to linger. So I finished here in the uttermost sea. While we linger at play, and on linger, I'm really going to use the word to move my arms. While we linger at play, if the year would stand at May, and I'm going to use that stand to sort of move myself upwards a bit. We stand at May. Yeah? Perfect. So, while we linger at play, if the year would stand at May. But you choose whichever words you would like to. Winds are up and away, over land, over sea. So again, for this whole phrase, I'd like you to move the whole time. And sort of move as if you are the wind. So, winds are up and away, over land, over sea. So try and use fluid movements, whether that's your arms, whether that's your legs, whether that's your whole body. Winds are up and away, over land, over sea, to their goal. And I'd like us all to move downwards on goal. And whether that downward movement is coming down like I just did, or moving your arms down, or looking down. But on goal, we're all going to come down and stop. So winds are up and away, over land, over sea, to their goal. And then I'd like us all to be still on wherever their goal may be. Because if we imagine we're all in the studio together, it's then this sort of winds moving around, and then we're all still in the studio. It's hard to tell with just one person moving, but I think if we were all together, that would look really, really effective. So let's do this whole second verse. So go to wherever you were at, bathe in the uttermost sea. Well, I'm imagining I'm on holiday now in the sea. It's lovely. So, while we linger at play, if the year would stand at May, winds are up and away, over land, over sea, to their goal, wherever that goal may be. Yeah? Fantastic. Let's just do this final verse as well, and then we're all done. It is time to arise, to race for the promised prize. So on a rise, I would really like an upwards movement. So you can stand, you can look, you can raise an arm. But again, imagine if all of us are doing this upwards motion together, it's going to look really effective. So it is time to arise, whatever your arise movement is. It is time to arise. To race for the promised prize. And again, we're going to move continuously for that whole line. To race for the promised prize. Yeah? It is time to arise, to race for the promised prize. Lovely. The sun flies, the wind flies. We are strong, we are free. And I'd like 4 movements there. So I'll say that bit nice and slowly. The sun flies, the wind flies. We are strong, we are free. So 4 separate, maybe positions. Let's just change position, change shape. And it can be as simple as turning over a hand, moving the head, but 4 separate positions on the sun flies, the wind flies, we are strong, we are free. But 4 very distinct positions. So again, if we're in the room, that's going to look really effective altogether. So it is time to arise, the race for the promised prize, the sun flies, the wind flies, we are strong, we are free. Lovely. And the final line, I love this. And home lies beyond the stars and the sea. And home lies beyond the stars and the sea. And just one movement to encapsulate that. And home lies beyond the stars and the sea. Whatever movement you want to do there. Let's try once all the way through and then with some music. So remember, we start with slumber. While we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. Daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free. Athirst to bathe in the uttermost sea. While we linger at play, if the year would stand at May, winds are up and away, over land, over sea, to their goal, wherever their goal may be. It is time to arise, to race for the promised prize. The sun flies, the wind flies, we are strong, we are free. And home lies beyond the stars and the sea. Great, let's try with some music. While we slumber and sleep, the sun leaps up from the deep. Daylight born at the leap, rapid, dominant, free, athirst to bathe in the uttermost sea. While we linger at play, if the year would stand at May, winds are up and away, over land, over sea, to their goal, wherever their goal may be. It is time to arise, to race for the promised prize. The sun flies, the wind flies, we are strong, we are free, and home lies beyond the stars and the sea. Thank you so much for joining me today and having a bit of a boogie in your living room. Hopefully you try something new. Contemporary dance is sometimes seen as a little bit scary, and hopefully you've seen that it's not so scary and that it can be created just using everyday movements and the movements of our body, and that we're able to experiment with what we feel able to do on any given day. So do watch the video again and see what you do differently next time you give it a go. I'd love to see any photos or videos of you taking part, so do send them into Luminate or to me at Clifftop Projects, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!